Good evening, I'm Tomas Guevara Calderon, and this is the channel Rewriting the Reality. Do you trust the scientific community? If your answer is yes, you probably need to subscribe to this channel immediately. As I mentioned before, one of the purposes of this channel is to debunk false or inaccurate information published by the sciences. There are no mental disorders. The mind is incapable of being sick. The main problem of the scientific community is confusing the brain with the mind, and they are not the same. I will not rest until they understand this fact. The following is a report dated July 31, 2023, neurosciencenews.com. A comprehensive study found that 1 in 2 people worldwide will experience a mental health disorder in their lifetime. Analyzing data from more than 150,000 adults in 29 countries, researchers found that 50% of the population will develop at least one disorder by age 75, with mood disorders such as depression and anxiety being the most common. The study highlighted the different prevalence of mental disorders between genders and noted that mental health problems often arise during childhood, adolescence, or early adulthood. Professor John McGrath of UQ's Queensland Brain Institute, Professor Ronald Kessler of Harvard Medical School, and colleagues from 27 other countries analyzed data from more than 150,000 adults from 29 countries between 2001 and 2022, taken from the largest coordinated series of face-to-face interviews ever coordinated. The World Health Organization's Global Mental Health Survey Initiative. Lead author Professor McGrath said the results demonstrate the high prevalence of mental health disorders, with 50% of the population developing at least one disorder by the age of 75. The most common were mood disorders, such as major depression or anxiety. This proves the need to invest in basic neuroscience to understand why these disorders develop. Professor Kessler said there was also a need to invest in mental health services, with a particular focus on young people. The surveys used the WHO Composite International Diagnostic Interview, a fully structured psychiatric diagnostic interview, to assess age of onset, lifetime prevalence, and morbid risk of 13 DSM-4 mental disorders up to age 75 years across all surveys by sex. Here's my comment: as I've been saying, all of this information is misleading. What I discovered is that they don't know what they're talking about, and that's why they came to the conclusion that they need to invest in basic neuroscience to understand these so-called disorders. I repeat that there are no mental disorders at all. Do you know what DSM-4 stands for? Here's the answer. DSM-4 stands for Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 4th edition. It is a widely used classification and diagnostic tool published by the American Psychiatric Association, APA, to provide criteria and guidelines for the diagnosis of mental disorders. The DSM-4 was the 4th edition of this manual and was replaced by the DSM-5. The choice between DSM-4 and newer versions depends on the context and specific needs. Newer versions, such as the DSM-5 and DSM-5-TR, reflect the most current advances in research and clinical practice, making them better suited for contemporary diagnosis and treatment. However, both the DSM-5 and the DSM-5-TR have generated quite a bit of debate and controversy in the medical community and among the general public. In 2018, I got a copy of the DSM-4 manual, read it twice, and then threw it away. The fact that the scientific community confuses the mind with the brain is madness. We all know that the brain disappears after death, decomposes a week after our burial, or immediately after being cremated. Their energy is transformed. Because we all know that energy can never be destroyed. When the mind, that is, you, leaves the body after death, your essence, which is also your mind, goes on a new journey, because as an essence and as part of the universal consciousness we are in continuous evolution. There are thousands of books about past life regressions. This is sufficient evidence to change the stubborn position regarding the nature of the brain. I will not rest repeating that the brain is only an organ, like the heart, or any other organ of the body, and that neither the body nor any organ has a mind of its own. We manipulate and direct the body, it is our vehicle in this physical reality, because we are beings of light, energy, or however you want to identify us. I know people who care more about their cars than their bodies, and this is also crazy. Our body is the most sacred representation of our essence. The joy and other feelings we can get from our body is incomparable to any other feeling. We designed it for our experiences on this planet, and that's why it's always perfect for the experiences we choose. Now let's talk about depression. Science tells us that depression, also known as major depressive disorder, MDD, is a common and serious mental health condition characterized by persistent feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and loss of interest or pleasure in activities one used to enjoy. It goes beyond the normal ups and downs that everyone experiences in life. Depression can affect people of all ages and backgrounds and can be the result of a combination of genetic, biological, environmental, and psychological factors. It is essential to seek help if someone is experiencing symptoms of depression, as it is a treatable condition through various interventions, such as psychotherapy, medication, or a combination of both. If you or someone you know is struggling with depression or having suicidal thoughts, it's crucial that you contact a mental health professional or helpline right away. My comment is, do they know the real causes of depression? No, they definitely don't know them. I think we had enough of such garbage. Let's analyze the social factors. First of all, let me remind you that we choose our parents and family before we are born. The same is true of the environment. When you accept this truth, you are on the right path to eliminating this so-called depression. Because you will probably choose an interesting and difficult challenge. So, instead of looking for excuses, start by taking on the challenge. Facing the challenge will tell you that no one is responsible for your situation more than yourself. Depression and anxiety are closely linked to each other. Both are the result of not living in the present, in the now. That is, we are creating expectations about what will happen in the future. For example, if you are out of work, you are worried if you are going to find a job. If you are in a romantic relationship, you are thinking if your partner is faithful to you. If you are healthy, you are thinking that at any moment you can get sick. In countries with 4 seasons, as soon as winter approaches, people begin to get vaccinated because they fear that they are going to get sick. If you are working in a company out of necessity, you are thinking that you can be fired at any time. But if you were working in something that you like, then you would not have these worries because you are doing what you like and even the schedule does not bother you. What you have to do is live in the now and have confidence in yourself. Another cause of depression is believing that you have no options. When you think you have no options, then you feel frustrated, which leads you to get angry and act in a senseless way. But we always have options, you just have to analyze them. Another cause of depression or anxiety is the desire to control all situations, and this is impossible. You cannot create the reality of other people. You do not even understand how you are creating your reality. If you knew, you would not be suffering from depression or anxiety. Getting involved in drugs is not the answer. Losing a loved one shouldn't be a factor in depression if you accept that everyone creates their reality, which means that everyone decides when to die, and you need to respect that. Biological and environmental causes must be rejected because you chose your parents and the environment. Which means you were aware of what you would be faced with this decision. Medical conditions and substance abuse should also be rejected because this is also chosen by you. It can be part of the challenge or an excuse for not recognizing that you create your reality. The main problem is all the information you get from science that paralyzes you, because you don't trust yourself. Remember what Jesus said, because they have so little faith. Truly I tell you, if you had faith as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, move to and from, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. Why should you believe what science says? 99% are just beliefs. On the other hand, you must be careful because everyone creates their reality using beliefs. In other words, depression is a reality, and it's because you create it using your beliefs. I am 72 years old and have never had an episode of depression. Twice I had high blood pressure. One in 1978 due to stress from overworking, and another in 2015, when my mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer. In both cases, the doctors told me that I should take pills for the rest of my life. But I didn't. I learned that I control my body and that taking pills will only deteriorate my health. That is, I don't let beliefs dictate what I should or shouldn't do, but I first accepted that these were just beliefs and accepting them reduced the influence and their power over me. That's all you need to do. Now, if you are taking medication, in addition to accepting beliefs, you should start by reducing the doses first, and not focus on depression, otherwise you will be affected again and you will be like a caged hamster going nowhere. Remember that you create what you focus on. In other episodes I will explain other diseases mentioned in the DSM-4. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and remember that you can buy my books in Amazon.com under my name Tomas Guevara Calderon.